Are there any questions over any of the assignments so far? Any questions over any of the assignments so far? Today what we're looking at is the equation of a circle. The equation of a circle. Now, the equation of a circle represents any points on a circle with the center at the origin and a radius r. And we can use the Pythagorean theorem to get to it because, again, we can make a triangle inside the circle. Now, x squared plus y squared equals r squared is the equation of the circle if the center is at the origin, if the center is 0, 0. If the center is at the origin, this is the equation of a circle. But in general, the equation of a circle is given to us by the formula x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, where the center is at the point h comma k, and the radius is r. H comma k is the center, and our radius is r. So when we plug it into the formula, we'll square it. Any questions on this so far? Now we look at this first one here, this first example. So we're on the second page now. Write the standard equation, guys, of a circle. So we want to write the standard equation of this circle here. Now the standard equation is given to us by the formula x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. Is equal to the radius squared. H and k is going to be the center. Now the center of this circle is at the origin. And we can see that because 1, 2, 3, a distance of 3 here. We also have 1, 2, 3, a distance of 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this here is the center. So the center is at the point 0, 0. Now what's the distance from the center to the point on the circle? It's a distance of distance from the center to a point on the circle is 3. So the radius in this case is 3. And again, the center is our h comma k. So if we plug this into the formula, we would have x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to the radius 3 squared. X minus 0 squared is just going to be x. So we'll just have x squared. Y minus 0 squared is just going to be y by itself. So y squared is equal to 3 squared. And what is 3 squared? 9. So the equation of this circle is going to be x squared plus y squared equals 9. Any questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. Now the first thing we need to find is the center, and then we need to find the radius to be able to get our formula, the standard equation of this circle. Where do we think the center is? Negative 5, 4. Right here. And if we check this here, we can see, so the distance to the four sides should all be the same. So 1, 2, 3, distance of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So negative 5, 4 is the center, and our radius is 4. Any questions on this here, how we found the center or found the radius? So if we plug this in, what's our h value? So we'd have x minus negative 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 4 squared. Now we can simplify this formula a little bit, because if we subtract a negative, and negative minus is going to be positive, so we have x plus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. So we'd get the equation x plus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 16. Because 5 and x aren't like terms, we can't combine them. No. That's it. Because x and 5 are not like terms, y and 4 are not like terms, so we have to leave it as this here. Any questions on this here? Any questions on anything we've done so far? Let's look at the next one. So we want to find the standard equation of a circle with a center at the point 0, negative 9, and a radius of 4.2 squared. Well, they already gave us our h and k values. So we'd have what? X minus what? 0 squared plus y minus negative 9 squared equals what? 4.2 squared. So the first thing with this one here, we can just plug the information in. We can plug the center's values, 0, negative 9 in for h and k, and plug 4.2 in for r. Now, x minus 0 is what? It's just going to be x, and then we'll have it squared, plus y minus negative 9 is plus 9 squared is equal to 16.4 squared. Not 16.4. 4.2 squared. I was wondering why that was a little too big. 17.64, yes. And that's it. Questions on this here? Questions on anything we've done so far? We ready for the next one? So, our next one, a circle with a center at the origin and a radius at 3.5. So if we plug this in, we'd have x minus what? 0 squared plus y minus squared is equal to 3.5 squared. And we know that h and k are 0 because it's centered at the origin. Origin is the point 0, 0. Now, x minus 0 squared can be rewritten as x squared plus y squared, because y minus 0 squared can be rewritten as y squared, is equal to 12.25. And really for 3.5 squared, we're just typing that into the calculator and seeing what we get. Any questions on any of this here? Are you ready for the next one? Do we need to see another example of one of these here? Do we feel comfortable with these two? Okay. Let's look at the next part. This one here. Now, the point on a circle, the point -5, 6 is on a circle with the center at -1, 3. Write the standard equation of a circle. So, our standard equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Well, we do have the center, so we have the values of h and k. Do we have the radius? No. But the radius of any circle is the distance from the center to a point on the circle. So for a given circle, this here we can say is -1, 3. And -5, 6 is a point on the circle. So our distance from the center to that point would give us the radius. So what we need to do is just find the distance from the center to -5, 6. And we can do that using the distance formula. Guys, what are our two x values that are given here? -5, yes. -5 and -1. Plus, our two y values are 6 and 3. Now, where we place which x value goes first and which y value goes first really doesn't matter as long as we have the x's and y's together. At this point here, if we wanted to type this all into the calculator, we can. We can type the square root of parentheses -5 minus -1 close parentheses squared plus open parentheses 6 minus 3 close parentheses squared and hit enter, and we would get our answer. Now, if we did this by hand, well, we would have -5 plus 1 squared plus 6 minus 3 squared. Well, -5 minus 1, or -5 plus 1 is going to be -4 squared plus 3 squared. Well, -4 squared is 16. 3 squared is 9. 16 plus 9 is? And the square root of 25 is 5. So our radius is 5. So now we have everything. As we have x minus h, our h value is what? -1. Plus y minus our k value is just 3. And the radius we said is 5. Now we do need to simplify this in a few places. X minus -1 is going to be x plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 5 squared is 25. And this here would be our equation. Hopefully y'all have noticed so far, yes sir, yes, that whenever our center, if the center's h or y value, h or k value is negative, in the equation it looks positive. If the center's value, like here, is positive 3, in the equation it looks negative. So the values for our h and k, the center, are the opposite of what they look like. And that'll be handy, especially when we're going the other way around. Any questions on this here? Are we ready for the next one? The point 41 is on a circle with a center of 1, 4. Write the standard equation of a circle. Our standard equation is our x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Well, we already know the values of h and k. What's the value of h? 1. And the value of k is? Is with our center at 1, 4. So h, comma, k. What is our radius? Okay. So we can find the radius using the distance. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, the point in the center, what are our two x values? So we'd have 4 minus 1. Then what are our two y values? How would I write it? Which one would go first? It doesn't matter. And the reason it doesn't matter is because of the square. Because if I put 1 minus 4, 1 minus 4 is what? Negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, yes? If we do it this way, 4 minus 1 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. And 3 squared is 9. 3 squared is 9. Either way, if it had been negative 3 or positive 3, we would still come out with a positive 9. 9 plus 9 is, and what is the square root of 18? So this is the radius, yes? In the equation, what are we going to do with the radius? Because our radius is what? Squared, yes? I can leave it as the square root of 18. Because the square root of 18 realistically is 3 square root of 2. Because if we wanted to simplify the radius all the way down, we would get 3 square root of 2. This is an irrational number. Now the reason I don't need to really rewrite it in the equation as 3 square root of 2 is because we're going to square it. Now x minus 1 squared is as simplified as it gets. Y minus 4 squared is as simplified as it gets. What is the square root of 18 squared? Hopefully you don't need a calculator for that. Because the square root and square will cancel, we're just left with 18. If we'd have squared 3 square root of 2, 3 times 3 is 9. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. 9 times 2 is 18. Because we did what? We square rooted 18 to get 3 square root of 2. If I square it, I'm kind of going back that way, but without the square root. Because the square root and square undo each other. So the final equation is this here. Questions on this here? Questions on anything we've done so far? Are we ready for the next one? The point 34 is on a circle with a center at 1, 4. Write the standard equation of a circle. let's fill in what we know so far. So what is the value of h and k for this problem here? So 1 is h, 4 is k. And at this point here, that's as simplified as it gets. We don't have any double negatives. We're not subtracting a negative, so that's not going to change. Well, so if I wanted to, we can kind of just say x minus 1 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals blank. Because the only thing we really need is the value of r. And to get that, we're going to use the distance formula. Now, I'm not going to rewrite out the general form. We're just going to put in the numbers. So our two x values would be minus 1. And the next one we would have 4 minus 4. Right? Before we continue on, I'm going to just plot this. So if we had 1, 4, this here is the center, yes? The other point is what? 3, 4. That's a distance of what? That's the radius. Now, if we look at the equation here, d is equal to the square root. 4 minus 4 is what? 0. So that is out. Now, I can still write it in. 3 minus 1 is 2 squared plus 0 squared. Now, 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 0 is still 4. So the distance is 2. Now, this worked out this way because, again, those 2 points were on a straight line. They're on a straight axis. So the radius for this here is 2. Now, to finish this out, we just need to see what the radius squared is. So 2 squared is, and that's it here. Questions on this? Now, if we wanted to graph it, we know the radius is 2, yes? So we have this set up here. So the other 3 spots where we would have a distance of 2 going north, south, east, and west are these 3 here. And that's it. Because we just draw all the points that are a distance of 2 away from the center that are nice. So north, south, east, and west, and connect those points. Any questions on this here? Any questions on anything we've done so far? All right. I believe this is the last set of problems that we're going to look at. Find the center of the circle and radius of each circle, then graph it. So the circle whose standard equation is x plus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 16. Now I'm going to write the standard equation underneath it. So we have x minus k, not k, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the first thing we're looking for is the center. Guys, so h and k. So h, we have a 4 in that position, yes? And it would be negative. Because in the standard equation, we have x minus h. So the sign between x and h should be negative. What is it for our equation here? Positive. What's the only way I can change a negative into a positive? With another negative, which means the value of h here is not positive 4, but negative 4. Now our value of y would be positive 1. Since it's still a negative, we still have that negative inside the parentheses. It means the value of k is positive. Questions on this here? Now we need to find the yes, to find the radius, because again, r squared is 16. So to get the radius by itself, we have to square root both sides. And the square root of 16 is plus or minus 4, positive or negative 4. But it has to be positive because radius is a distance. It's a length. So it has to be positive. No, we'll always talk about distance in a positive length. The only time we'll start talking about it in a slight extent of a negative distance is if we're talking about points in a polar sense and polar coordinates. But that's a special case. Now, if we want to graph this, graphing this is actually not that bad. Because the first thing we need to plot is the center, which is at -4, 1. And again, a circle is the set of all points a distance r away from the center. And here they're a distance of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So I go a distance of 4 up, down, left, and right from the center. And now we just need to connect them. So we can start at one of the points. And there's our circle. Questions on this here? Are you ready for the next one? Find the circle given this here. And then graph it. So we want to find the center and the radius. So again, our standard equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So what's our value of h for this problem here? And k is 4. Now since it's x minus 1 and y minus 4, since the negative is still there from our original equation, the values of h and k are both positive. Now our radius 4 is equal to r squared, because our radius squared is 4. So to figure out what the radius is, we have to take the square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is? And that's it here. Now if we wanted to graph it, we can go over 1 and up 4. And then just go a distance of 2 on all sides and then draw the circle. Any questions on any of this here? Any questions on anything we've done so far today? And that's it.